Hey there, welcome to this week's episode. Have you heard the statement that it takes 3 days to break a habit, 7 days to establish a new one, 21 to create a lifestyle, and 90 to cement that lifestyle? Well, in reality, it actually takes longer to fully and completely heal and cement those lifestyle changes. Stick with me. We're going to chat about that during this episode and give you some tools and tips to make it through successfully.
Hi friend, welcome to Healthy in a Wild World. I'm your host, Bonnie Wilderson-Heiss. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and health practitioner. This podcast is for people who are sick and tired of feeling lost in society's view of what it takes to achieve and maintain a healthy lifestyle. It's for those looking for an alternative to yo-yo dieting, strict restrictions, overwhelming exercise programs, and mindset activities that feel like a complete waste of time. My guests and I will share conversations and tips that teach you how to eat all your faves, be active without ever hitting a gym, and meditate on your own terms to find the unique path to a healthy lifestyle that fits into your world. It's time to break some rules and pave a new path to health and wellness. Are you ready to find your path through this wilderness? Let's get started.
Oh, you guys, I'm so excited about this topic. All right, so it's kind of one of those pet peeves for me when someone says that it takes 3 months to heal. It doesn't. It takes a full year. It takes a full year for your body to understand that this is the new way of life, that it functions better, it works better, you feel better, everybody and all cells and molecules within your body are just happier. They've released emotional turmoil and trauma. They have repaired physical ailments. And they've begun to really revitalize and rejuvenate. Okay. Now, there's a few things that go into that full year. That first 3 months, for example. It's not a lie that it takes 3 days to break a habit. It's not a lie that it takes 7 days to create a habit. It's definitely not a lie that it takes 90 days to create a new lifestyle. That's all correct. But in order for it to stick, and in order for you to continue to feel better and continue to heal completely, to the point that you hit your optimal health for your body, your lifestyle. It's just like nutrition, guys. Like I have my own optimal health. You have your own optimal health. I have my way that my body wants me to eat and the nutrients I need, and you have yours, right? This is exactly the same. Now, when you're looking at this 3 months, what you're doing within that 3 months is you're building your foundation. What you do past that is you practice and you just continue to build and solidify that foundation. You make it stronger. It's like cement poured for a house. So you can pour the cement and it cures, but it actually doesn't completely solidify and become solid for many years after. All right. And I want to say for a house, it's like 10 years, but I don't know exactly. Thankfully, I'm not in the house industry. That's the hub's. That's the husband's industry. We'll ask him later. So it takes you these 3 months to build your foundation. You get through all of the most difficult obstacles. Okay. Now, that's not to say that the things that happen after that 3 months within that first year aren't going to feel difficult. It's true. They will. But they're manageable. By this time you have strategies established. You understand some of the cravings that you've experienced. Many of them actually disappear, so you don't have to worry about as much after that first 3 month time frame. So effectively what you're doing is you're practicing. All right? From 3 months to a full year, you are practicing. And after that year hits, and really closer to when that year hits, because for some of us it's just shy of a year. Other people, it is longer than a year. It just kind of depends. I mean, that's part of the reason that we created the month-to-month membership, because I can get you into my 6-week program and send you through the 21-day and the 3-day and the 7-day and get you through all of that. And that'll take you through the full three months, right? We've broken it down so it's step by step and it's easy. But what happens after that? Where's the support? How are you going to get the guidance to make it through the holidays, through family events, through, special occasions or certain dates that have an emotional meaning, whether it's a happy meaning or it's a sad memory, either one, it's going to take a toll on you. And if you have strategies set within that first 3 months, they may not have been set during a time frame that is part of the year that's difficult for you. And having some help throughout the rest of that will actually allow you some freedom and a little bit of relaxation to just deal. Deal with it, make it through, feel successful, feel confident about working through whatever it is, whether it's a positive or a negative. All right. And there's a couple of things that we need to look at during this episode. We're going to look at psychology. We're going to look at emotions. All right. What you do physically, how you eat, those are all areas that actually help you manage and practice well, right? The better our bodies operate and function, the happier we are, the more stable we are, the better we manage stress, right? The less it impacts our overall well-being effectively. Well, what are you dealing with over this time? So let's talk with that. So when you look at the psychology of, let's talk about autoimmunity, because that's something that I see a lot is an autoimmune dysfunction. I bumped into someone recently who is dealing with some really weird things and has been diagnosed with a very rare autoimmune condition. Now, here's what happens with autoimmunity, right? Let's talk about rheumatoid arthritis today, because we usually go with fibro or chronic fatigue. So let's go with rheumatoid arthritis today. So RA is actually very painful and it can create a lot of very stiff joints, which the people suffering, if you're suffering from RA, you can't move. You have days where it flares up and you can't move. The weather, things that you sniffed in a store, you ate somewhere and oh my gosh, you were exposed, right? Well, if you've made it through 3 months and you're feeling good and then something hits you and you have a flare-up, it feels devastating. It feels like you have just lost the war. And in reality, you haven't lost a war. You may have lost that battle, but you haven't lost the war. Okay? And psychologically, what this really looks like is it's affecting your attitude. Okay? It's affecting how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem, your self-worth. Your perception of who you are as a person, what you're able to handle and not handle, and the things that you can deal with and manage. Those things you start to question, and no matter how many times or how wonderful or how great your body responds to that first 3 months of changes, there will be a moment when you have a flare-up. It sucks. Let me tell you, the first time I had a flare-up and I had been through, I think, it had been like 4 or 5 months and I hadn't had a reaction. I was feeling amazing. And I ordered, I think, a club sandwich and I said no cheese, but I didn't say anything about having an allergy. And they put butter on the bread, but they didn't put it on the outside of the bread. They put it on the inside. And I took 1 bite and I was down. I was down for 3 days and I kicked myself the entire 3 days. And on the 3rd day, I got a call from a friend And, you know, it's good to be in this field because your colleagues kind of understand your patterns. And then eventually they look at you when you disappear and they'll call you and go, hey, what's up? And you can tell them, you know, I had a flare up. I'm struggling to get out of bed or struggling to get off the couch and, you know, function in daily life. And they will tell you exactly what I'm telling you here. And it's good because they already understand that I know what I'm talking about. But, you know, when you're in that moment and you're having a flare up, the attitude that kind of comes up, because when you feel like crap, your emotions and your mood plummets, okay? And if you have dealt with any sort of autoimmune condition like RA for a long time frame, you could have already developed a mental illness, something like depression, anxiety. What is another one? Yeah, I would say depression and anxiety are the two big ones. And you have your depression meds and things like that, but if you're having a flare-up, they don't always work. You know, it's not going to make you happier. So having someone that can call you and go, hey, you know that this is a temporary situation. This is a temporary flare-up. Go back to basics. What are your strategies? How did you manage the flare-ups? And how did you avoid the flare-ups? And what did you do to flush out the molecules that are causing your symptoms today? That's where you go back to your 3-month foundation. So by the time you're done with your first 3 months, you should have a strategy that lists not only foods to avoid. I mean, that's a great piece of it, but that's a small piece. You're looking at foods to avoid. You're looking at activities that you can do on a day-to-day basis that help you manage symptoms, right? And manage your health versus allowing an illness or the universe to manage it for you. You are taking control. It is your health. It is your body. And that's kind of where we say your body, your health, your way. Your strategy is for you. So you've gotten past the 3 months. You got into this 1 week. You have a flare up. Most strategies for people that I work with involve taking a charcoal tablet, flushing with lemon water, and having some ginger tea, some turmeric, boswellia, whether it is through a standard process supplement, a tea, or if it's through essential oils. If you're looking at flare-ups, using frankincense and boswellia essential oils is not effective to treating cancer. However, boswellia acid, the herb, the tincture coming from the gum resin is. Now with any other flare-up, pain, inflammation, discomfort, essential oil that is a blend of the frankincense, black pepper, oddly enough, because black pepper is a stimulant, and a little bit of the chamomile. And I want to say no. Frankincense, myrrh, and a little bit of menthol. So whether you're going with, you know, kind of a deep blue thing like what doTERRA has, or if you're going with a eucalyptus, something of that nature, something that gets into your muscles and your bones and just releases it and helps alleviate some of the pain, right? So that's what you're going with. So here's your strategy. Well, what about food? So you're flushing with your lemon water, right? And you can flush with cucumber water too if you don't like that. Cucumber water is actually really refreshing sometimes. You've got your charcoal tablet, which what the charcoal does is it actually will bind to molecules that your body deems harmful, okay? It all happens internally. It's really weird and bizarre, but somehow it works. It's part of the reason that they use charcoal when they are trying to help somebody who has overdosed, right? They're trying to pump their stomach. Well, they pump it with charcoal because charcoal will bind it and pull everything out. That situation we don't want you to do, but one capsule will actually help alleviate a lot of your symptoms and will help remove molecules from your body quickly which means your duration of episode is shorter, okay? From there, you need to look at, all right, so here are the things that I do to treat externally, right? And flush my system and bind my molecules. But what about food? So the minute you have a reaction, you should have a list of foods that take you back to your 3-day reset, okay? And it includes a strict clean eating protocol. Now, your clean eating protocol with RA, with chronic fatigue, with fibromyalgia, because those are conditions that cause pain as part of their symptomology, you want to include turmeric and boswellia herbs. Okay, those are anti-inflammatories. The curcumin within the turmeric is actually a tremendously helpful herb. Okay, it is one of the anti-inflammatories in herbal medicine and the top choice in traditional Chinese medicine a lot of the times. So, or Ayurvedic, sorry, wrong field. Now, let's say you get through that or that first exposure, that first reaction, right? And now you've got to improve your mood because you know that feeling of, oh my God, I can't believe it happened again. What am I going to do? I thought I was past this. I can't believe I did this. I can't believe this happened, right? These are the things that cross your mind. Well, the reality is 3 months creates your foundation. It does not erase the illness. Autoimmune conditions are lifelong. We can manage them. We can minimize the times that there are reactions. We can minimize exposures, right? Those are the things that we learned during the 3 months. Now, during practice, you're putting these things into practical use. Hence, practice, right? So what you have to really fully pay attention to is where your self-esteem is, where your attitude is, what's your appetite like? If your life is getting more stressful, then there's going to be some things that you want to include in your life to help minimize those reactions. It's kind of like a scale, okay? So you have your illness reactions on one side and you have stress management, adrenal health on the other, okay? What you feed your body, how you treat your body, and the environmental impact, the things that you have control over and the things you don't. If there's a project at work and your stress levels just hit the roof and beyond, you're not really in control of that, but you have to figure out a way of managing it because you still have to work, you still have to pay bills, you still have to take care of the family, right? With or without help, we all have responsibilities in the real world. Now, if you look at this scale, your stress management and adrenals on the one side, when they go up, right? Or when they get weighed down, your symptoms and your reactions increase, right? The chances of them showing up increase. Well, if you can implement management strategies into your 3-month foundation and keep practicing them throughout the year, then regardless of what happens with that stress, when the stress and the adrenal impact become weighed down and your symptoms start rising and you can feel them. I can feel a reaction almost immediately, right? So I know, and I've heard from other clients, friends over all these many years that they feel the same thing. So now what happens is you implement all of your healing protocols, your reset buttons, get the charcoal on the ready kind of a thing, and you start practicing the other physical and emotional and mindset management techniques for your health, right? And that restores your balance again. So effectively what's happening is you're taking your stress, your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous systems back to their original function, where an intense stressful reaction is a temporary situation, and you are now managing your stress and returning yourself to a balanced state. Okay? Now that balanced state takes a few physical conscious actions to make sure that it happens. Because you and I both know stress hits and we go into, oh my God, what do I do? And you start just acting. You're reacting. You're not being proactive. You're reacting. Within your first 3 months, when you establish habits, you are learning proactive mode. But then life hits and now you've got to practice it. And that's part of the reason it takes that full year is you cannot predict when a stressful situation to that degree is going to happen. So you establish the habits within that first 3 months. You've got your strategies set up. You've got your foundation set up. And now you wait. And you're not consciously waiting going, oh my God, is it around the corner? Life is going to happen as it happens, right? Now, if you have your strategies set up, which one big thing to help with stress management and adrenal balance is using practice such as yoga, tai chi, qigong, some meditation. You can have a regular walk that you do, and it's not necessarily that you're walking so that you're blasting through calories. It's walking to clear your brain, dancing to clear your brain. Something that you enjoy that you've realized over those 3 months and beyond helps you improve your mood. It helps you feel less stressed and just helps you feel like you have energy, that you're not being depleted from your day-to-day lifestyle, right? From your world. These things are things that you're going to need to implement and feel conscious of. And at times, you're going to have to just force yourself to do it. It's not easy, I get it, but you can hit one of the apps, I use the Calm app, and there's a couple of them out there, but you can use the Calm app, and it takes, hit the button, give yourself a minute of breathing, just straight breathing. You will be surprised at how quickly you calm your stress levels, how quickly you calm your brain, and ultimately how quickly you return to feeling healthy, happy, and that whole confident person that you were when you finished your 3 months. When you take conscious activity to help you improve your health in specific situations, it improves your overall well-being. Now let's talk about the holidays, because the holidays may not feel like much, but you've got multiple religions with a lot of holidays. So there's lots of family gatherings, there's shopping for many people, there are friends parties, work events, there's New Year's, there's the school events. It's just one thing after another. How do you make it through those, right? Those situations and, just celebrating birthdays and things like that throughout the year, you don't hit those always during those first 3 months of foundation. So within a full year from the day that you start your health transformation, you have hit the holidays, you have managed to make it through and reach the end. You've realized where you made mistakes, because we all do, especially that first year, we make mistakes. Keep notes, log, so that way when the holidays hit the next year, during year 2, you can refer back and go, okay, you know what? Here's what I need to do. My trick, I eat before I go to a party. Because 9 times out of 10, I will go, especially if it's an evening party, there are brownies and chocolate chip cookies with nuts. And oh my God, you guys, if they put the white chocolate raspberry macadamia ones out, I am so screwed. And I can't have any bit of that cookie. White chocolate is milk and sugar. I cannot have the cookie, but holy cow, it is good. And it is the worst temptation. So if I eat before I go to any holiday party, especially Christmas ones, I'm actually okay. I'll have a drink or two and, maybe snack on some veggies. But if I don't go hungry, then I don't want anything. And it's easier for me to resist the favorite foods that are sitting in front of me. That first year or two, I had a couple of moments where I was like, you know what? It's worth it. The reaction is worth it. Okay, no, it actually isn't. Um, but, sometimes it takes us a minute. And then you have those moments where you look at it and you're like, oh, I'm feeling so much better today than I was a year ago. I bet the reaction won't be that bad. Well, no, it's actually worse because, during that first 3 months, you've erased all protective molecules. Your body is no longer protecting you from inflammatory triggers because you no longer have exposure to them on a regular basis. So that's why you're healthier, because your body's not overworking itself. But the drawback to that is that when you do expose yourself to the foods and the molecules that create and trigger symptoms within your body, what happens is the reaction is actually worse. It takes us a year of going through holidays, celebrations, special days, certain events, vacations, life in general, beginning of school year for those of you with kids, end of the school year, stuff like that. And once you get through that year, you've kind of hit just about everything you could possibly hit in life. And you've experienced what it's like in your new healthy lifestyle, right? Your new habits, your new conscious goals and management techniques, health management techniques, right? And you've figured out, A, what you've done wrong, and B, how to fix it, how to do better next time, all right? When I had the running group, the GEMS, our motto was, we're healthier today than we were yesterday. And this is exactly the same. Now, physically within your body, your head doesn't recognize that it wants to prevent you from eating certain foods. So if you ever notice that you no longer want a certain food, right? For whatever reason, now when you look at that food, like let's say you have the flu. I had the flu once, and I had chicken tortilla soup, and I had a tuna sandwich that afternoon for lunch. And that night, I mean, literally, I had dinner at 6, and by 9 o'clock, I was done. I had the stomach flu. It was 24 hours of puking. Sorry, gross, but puking. And with that 24 hours was up, it was like a flip of a switch. I was better. But you guys, that happened the first year I moved to Texas, which was in 2011. And do you know, I have not had chicken tortilla soup since, because when I see it, all I see is me being sick. I am disgusted by the food. And that's what starts to happen. But your brain needs to have that exposure after you've released yourself from all of the protective mechanisms and built your foundation. It takes your brain a good year subconsciously to do exactly what you're doing with it consciously, to go through all the little facets of life and figure out what's going to trigger a reaction and what's not. Now, physically, biologically, internally, your cells turn over about once every 3 months. Now, as you're going through your first 3 months, you're starting to heal, right? New cells are taking over for the cells that were damaged, right, by being sick for so long. Especially with rheumatoid arthritis, what you're looking at is cells that replace the cells that were damaged through inflammation and triggered stiffness within your joints. Okay, and now the cells are even healthier than the ones that were there before because of the food that you're now eating and how protective you are about the stuff that you're putting on your skin and in your house and at work. Keep in mind, we're talking about those things that you are in control of, because there's things that you're not, and we have to manage those. And once you get through having all of that come into your body, those cells have to continue to get healthier and healthier and healthier. Now, depending on how sick you are when you go through that first 3 months, you can actually feel the transformation each quarter. Okay? So you're at the end of your first quarter of your health transformation. You feel healthier, you feel better, you feel more confident, and you feel like you can't feel any better than this. And then the second quarter happens. So now you're 6 months into these new habits, your foundation. You've been practicing your solid foundation that you created within your 3 months for a full 3 months. And you actually feel more confident and healthier. And that's with successful practice, right? Same thing happens at 9 months and a year. So at the end of that year, you kind of feel like you got this. That's how it feels. Your confidence improves, your self-esteem improves. When your appetite goes down, you know something's about to happen. When your energy starts kind of pulling away from itself and you don't have as much energy as you did 2 weeks before, you are able to implement various strategies. Now, with RA, one of the things that you can really look at, and I know chronic fatigue is very similar, is your sleep patterns. If you can track your sleep patterns, you will see what is happening, especially as seasons change. Because when the seasons go from summer to fall to winter, your joints automatically get stiffer. And that's in a normal, healthy body without arthritic conditions, okay, without fibromyalgia within their system. With RA, the colder the environment, it seems like the more stiff the joints, and then that triggers reactions. So taking that year to monitor your sleep, to monitor your health, and figure out what happens to your body as you're going from one season to the other, because the barometric pressure changes, the environment changes, we've got cold weather, we've got wet, we've got dry, it goes all over the place, right? And for those with RA, if your first 3 months is during summer, then coming into the winter can really feel devastating. But rejuvenating your health means addressing situations like that head on. So you're not just looking at 3 months to heal your body. It takes a full year. Does this make sense? If not, let me know. Always open for questions. And like I said, I wanted to end this episode with techniques. All right. So your first 3 months, and with any of the Living Clean programs, you get certain things to help you. The membership actually provides various things month to month based on the month of the year. And so right now we're getting ready to launch the membership. So if you're listening to this and it's 2020, it's now towards the end of 2019 and we're just launching the membership. So we are actually phasing into winter months. What that means is we're going to start implementing strategies that help people with stiff joints and chronic issues that will create symptomology and create reactions because of weather. And we're also going to implement certain strategies and techniques and workshops that help you manage and make it through the holidays without feeling like you're alone. Okay, the goal is to maintain that confidence. Well, by implementing strategies that can be used throughout the year and being flexible enough to understand that you're going to have to track some things for a year and make sure that you understand what happens when in your body, right, around your life, your family schedule, your special events, you make it through that full year successfully, right? And every quarter, your cells are regenerating and they're getting healthier and healthier and healthier. And after the full year, a lot of those cellular structures that were so damaged when you first started have now regenerated to the point and have been replaced to the degree that they aren't damaged anymore. Reactions will damage some cells. So now you've got to, you're going to have some situations where you're going to have to regenerate cells and replace them with healthier cells. But as long as you stick with a plan and something that works for you, you're good. Now, a couple of the things that we suggest, breathing and meditation, like we talked about, especially if you have a stressful moment, go in, take a minute and just hit the Calm app. I don't care if you're in a bathroom. Just take a minute and breathe. Don't breathe too deeply if you're in the bathroom. Regular practice of yoga and Tai Chi or Qigong, or even just simply walking or dancing, whatever your favorite activity is, that's what I want you to do. And I want you to shut off the world. All right. Now, a couple of unique things that we suggest that many people haven't heard of: laughter yoga and screaming yoga. For the women's retreat that we're going to start next year, so we have it scheduled for spring. So April 2020 is when it's scheduled. We're actually going to have a screaming yoga session. All right. All it is you spend a few minutes in poses, screaming, letting out all of your emotions. Don't hold anything in, because your emotions can trigger reactions as well. So emotions are connected to your stress management, all right? Stress management, adrenals get weighed down, reactions increase, right? Remember our scale? So I'm not saying you have to be the meh emoticon. I want you to be happy. I want you to be sad. I want you to be joyful. I want you to be angry. Those are all emotions that humans feel. But implementing things on a regular basis that make you happy, that make your brain, your body happy, like a regular practice of meditation and breathing and some activity. I mean, bottom line, guys, just move. That's it. I don't care what you do. Just move. Doing things like that, trying new things. Try a laughter yoga class. It's kind of weird when you first start, and then halfway through you're like laughing out loud and you don't really understand why, and then you leave, but you feel so happy when you leave. And then the screaming yoga. I mean, there are weird things coming out every day for fitness, and you can usually get into a class for free, do a trial class, or fairly cheap. So those are things that you can kind of implement past that 3-month time frame that help you get through that first full year and manage the biological aspects happening in your body. Your body's changing. It's getting healthier. And all we need to do is make sure that during that year, we're providing extra awareness and support to our body, so that by the time we hit the end of that year, we are completely healed and we are moving forward. All right, you guys, I'm going to stop chatting your ear off now. I am curious. Let me know what your preferred activity is. And one thing that I neglected to mention within this episode is consistency. We talk about it a lot in our 3-month courses and beyond, and we talk about it a lot in the Living Clean community and our private Facebook group. Is consistency is the key. So keep your scale balanced. Put things into place within your 3-month foundation that help you balance that scale, and be consistent, because at the end of the year, your consistency will pay off. You will be in a much healthier state, and all of those cravings that you had before for all the processed food and anything that created reactions will be gone. Your body will start disliking instantly the sight of the foods that you react to. It is an amazing process. So, all right, I will chat with y'all next week. Have a wonderful week. Let me know if you have questions. Talk with you soon. Thanks for listening. What'd you think? I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and I'm always looking to improve the podcast. So leave me a review or send me a message with your honest opinion, questions, and takeaways. Want to continue the discussion with us? Just click on the link in the show notes and join us in a private community. And as always, remember, it is time to stop struggling and start enjoying life again. See you next time.